Ruben, hello, welcome to the United Community Channel. That will never get old, by the way. It's my favorite song. Anyway, hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. Welcome back to another episode of the United Community Podcast. And we've got a busy show, and it's an exciting time if you are a Benjamin Sesko fan, and it's not an exciting time if you're Chris. So we're going to talk about Benjamin Sesko. We're going to talk about the price tag. We're going to talk about can we get the deal done. We're going to talk, and Chris is going to run the talking points for us tonight. So as always, guys, please do smash a like on the video. Do hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. But more importantly, I want to get your thoughts. I want to know, do you think 85 million euro for Benjamin Sesko is too much money? We're going to talk a little bit about Ineos as well. I've included in the title, have Ineos fooled everyone? And I'll explain that when we get to it, because even the boys are fucking confused about that one. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But look, as always, everybody is welcome. Thanks for joining us. And please do smash a like on the video. Chris, where are we starting?
Benjamin Sesko, let's go. News this morning was that we put in a bid for 65 million pounds plus 9 million in add-ons. So a total of 74 million pounds, which, I mean, we got to decide if we're going to do the euro thing or the pound thing and everything like that.
Well, basically, it's 1 million more than what we would have paid for Highland full package.
Yes, but it's less than what Newcastle has put in for Sesko already.
Yes.
So, you know, and this gets into what we had talked about, you know, or Jack, you talked about in your video this morning on your new show, is that, you know, is there a gentleman's agreement? Is there that gentleman's agreement where if we're listed, I mean, a lot of people have talked about it, no one's confirmed it, that if United's on the list, that, you know, maybe we know that and we put in that's why we put in the bid that we did. Nobody knows.
Well, let me ask you then, Chris, what do you think of the bid? What do you think about it being lower than Newcastle's bid? How we approached the days and the hours leading up to entering this bid? What have you made of the whole situation?
You know, I have a problem with it because I don't love the fact that, we're only bidding on players that have given the okay that they want to come to United. It's because that's United came out and said we're only going to bid on Sesko if he says he'll come.
Yeah.
Otherwise we won't bid on him. So it's like, for me, it's like, okay, well, Leipzig has made it, and again, this is limited information. Leipzig has said they want 69.5 million pounds. That's what they want for him.
Yeah.
So we've come in with less, which is about 4.5 million pounds less. Like, are we playing a game again where, we're trying to get it? We're not trying to pay the United tax or whatnot.
Well, are you upset that we're only going for players that have given us the green light? Because is the alternative, for example, having a fee agreed with Barcelona, but chasing Frankie de Jong for 10, 11 weeks? Is that the alternative? Because me personally, I like the idea of, having a deal done with the player before you actually go and put a bid in with the club. Or am I maybe looking at it wrong?
I look at it.
I know you can jump in if you've got anything to say as well, of course.
I look at it a little bit differently because I want to go after players that we signal. Like, it's like, we're only going to make a bid if they say it's okay, instead of saying, okay, I want to go out and I want to get this player. And then we go after the player. It's almost like we're waiting to say, oh, okay, I'll come to United, and then we're going to bid on the player, instead of going, hey, I want you to come, and this is what we're going to do. It's almost like we have to wait for him to say it's okay before we even attack it at that point.
Is that not what they're doing, Chris? Because they weren't talked with Leipzig since last Thursday. So they are obviously making their interest known, but they're not going to be drawn to a bidding war unless the player wants to come. We've been led by the nose by so many clubs and players down through the years. I think for all but I think Ineos haven't had the best window. I think this is the best signing that if it goes over the line. It started last Thursday. There was no bullshit about it. They got in, they spoke to the player, spoke to the club, asked the club what it would take. They put in their value, which is 4.5 million less than what the club want, but they know that Sesko wants to come. So for me, that's a good thing.
Can I give my point on this as well, Chris? Just because I'm going to kind of side with Oisín a little bit here. I think United and Ineos or whoever's doing the negotiations, I think they've been very smart here. I think we've seen Newcastle show desperation in trying to sign him, and they went directly to the club with a massive bid over what Leipzig were looking for. And I think it was in a way to try and frighten Manchester United off. Going, look, we're willing to go high here, and we know you can't match us with money, because all they have to do is sell Isak, and they could easily go to 130 million if they wanted to get Sesko. And I think United were very clever, and they went an alternative route, and they said, we're going to go to the player. And we're going to go to the player, and we're going to see, does the player want to come to us? And if he gives us the green light or gives us enough indication for us to put in a bid, then we can go lower, and we don't have to get into a bidding war with another club when we know he wants to sign for us. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And I guess that maybe I'm more upset at the fact that we waited this long to do that.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it sooner. You know, maybe and I see your guys' points but I would think that maybe we should have gone to the players sooner and not waited till now. You know, because my whole point, and Jack, you know this well, and Oisín knows this well, is that, and this comes into one of our topics later, is that we put ourselves behind the 8 ball when it comes to the beginning of the season, because we end up getting players in so late that they're not ready for the beginning of the season. You know, because I could run the table and say, there's a good chance that Embuemo's not going to be ready for the beginning of the season because of how late he ended up coming to us. Because from what I've read is that Amarin is very adamant that he has specific fitness level that he wants the players to be at before they can be on the field. We've seen it with Embuemo already. He was in before, like Jack, you said, as long as he's on the tour, we're good. Well, he only got to play 45 minutes on the tour. Because his
but game time is not as important as minutes on the training ground, and the key aspect of that was how much Amarim said that during last season. Games mean nothing. I need these guys on the training page, and look, you're right. You know, you want to have your players ready to go for the start of the season, but I mean, ultimately, we spoke about this whole domino effect, didn't we, with strikers, where when the first one goes, the rest will follow suit. Yes. You know, and is there any way we could have done this Sesko deal quicker without? I mean, was Sesko our number one choice? If he was, then we have delayed too long. But I don't know if he was.
Well, I don't think he was. My other issue is that, okay, so we bid, was it 65? Is that because of the gentleman's agreement, or are we just trying to lowball?
But Chris, that's an improvement on 45 and we went to Brentford.
Yeah,
I mean that was embarrassing. This is an improvement.
No, I think, but why not just bid 69? Because that's what they want for him. 69 plus add-ons and be done.
But I think
because Sesko wants to come to United, and United know that.
But now we're going to get in this bidding. It's £4 million.
But
12.
But what you've got to realize is that when United get the green light, and let's say Sesko, hopefully tonight, and I don't see why it would take too much longer now for us to hear where he wants to go. He's got no other reason to delay any longer now. Both bids are in, both offers have been tabled for him. He should know where he wants to go relatively quick. But I think Manchester United, and again we go back to that kind of buying a house, go low. I think the only reason United have put a bid in is to show to Sesko that we want you.
But that's not what United said. United said they're only going to bid on Sesko if they knew that he wants to come.
Yes.
So then there should be a discussion at that point.
Yes, but United got the indication from Sesko, and this is all hearsay, by the way. Let's say United got the go ahead from Sesko. United put the bid in low with Leipzig, knowing that Sesko is going to go, yes, I want Manchester United. The decision is going to be Sesko's, and again, it's said here from Sky Sports, Leipzig will leave the decision to the player. So if the player decides that it is United, that bid hasn't been accepted or rejected. It's just there on the table, and negotiations can, like, if United went in with the same bid as Newcastle, Leipzig would have gone, yep, thank you, and then there's no way United get that back down.
No, but I'm not saying you go in the same bid as Newcastle, but it's been, from what I've read, is they want 69.5 million pounds.
Yep.
That's what they want, and we came in at 65. It's not like we came in with 55. And now we're gonna get a steal because we're taking 14 million pounds off the table. It's a matter of 4 million pounds, 4.5 million pounds. That's like, I mean, in the
Chris,
that's like
Chris,
peanuts.
we don't know. We don't know how that deal is structured, though.
No, I get it, and
so we don't know how much upfront we're getting, what Newcastle are doing. So there's a lot of elements. By the way, I'm enjoying this. I've got my popcorn while you've got the argument.
Yes, I love the label above the popcorn word.
But Oshin, I agree with you that we don't know how the deal is set up and everything like that. And maybe we're giving more money up front, at 65 than we would at 69. But in my reasoning, it's like, we're not getting that big of a deal because they want 69 and we're bidding 65. Like, would it not be handshake deal done if we just bid 69 and a half?
No.
Why not? If
because
he wants United, but now we're going to have to go. Now we're going to fight this battle of we could make Leipzig happy for 69 and a half. Sesko wants United. The deal's done. But now Sesko wants United. But Leipzig wants 69 and a half. We bid 65. We're going to take a week to bid to mess around with 4.5 million pounds.
But you've got to realize as well is that when United decide to negotiate correctly, and we've seen it with Mbeumo, and people say the negotiations for Mbeumo took 6 weeks. They didn't. They took 3 days once United put in the third bid. And it was done relative. Do you not think so? Was it not done relative? I mean, we put the third bid, I think, in on a Thursday. And
yeah,
it was United.
Look, let's not conflate the two here, because we overpaid from Mbeumo at the end of the day because we panicked.
Well, that
deal went on. We put the first bid in June and we signed them in July. That's 6 weeks, no matter what way you look at the negotiations.
Well, we up our price for Mbeumo, obviously, because of the Visa rumors with Newcastle. Yeah, you know what I mean. But I don't see us jumping to, like, there's no way United jump to Newcastle's valuation now.
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying the valuation that Leipzig has on him is 69 and a half. We bid 65.
But there's always wiggle room in them valuations, though. There always is.
I understand that, but why not open the, I mean, for me, I would be more apprehensive if we bid 55 or 60 and we have a $10 million wiggle room there. We left 4.5 million pounds on the table. That's like peanuts compared to, it's not like what Oshie and I were talking about before. We bid 45 for Mbeumo at the beginning, and now we're trying to go from 45 to 66, and we're trying to meet in the middle. We already went to 65. So you can't tell me that we could go to 69 and say, hey, we gave you your evaluation because it's only 4 million above ours.
But
because you have to look at it as well. Leipzig haven't turned this down, and they've gone to the player and said, "Who do you want?"
Yeah, and it's also optics. If United bid what they want, okay, and I know it's only 4.5 million, all right, but it's 4.5 million this year, and it might be 7 or 8 million next year, and it might be 15 million the year after. Eventually, the more the Manchester United go 69.5, okay, we'll give you that then. I don't care what anyone says. The optics are important. And how easly you are pushed around in the transfer market. And I know it hasn't been perfect, but you've got to start somewhere.
But Jack, I agree with optics are important. But optics are important when they have an evaluation of 80 million and we're bidding and we want to pay 60 million. The optics of the difference between 65 and 69 are irrelevant in my mind. because you can't sit there and say, "Oh, we stuck them for
They don't seem to be relevant. You're talking an awful lot about it.
But no, it's irrelevant because we don't want to pay the United tax. That's what we're talking about here. And when everybody always inflates the value when United come knocking, and I understand that. But is the evaluation of 69.5? That's not an inflated evaluation like Oshin and I were talking about in Bremo. That their evaluation was not an inflated valuation. Just like Sesko, it's not an inflated valuation, because if it was, we would have been a lot lower.
Well, Arnstein is saying like the proposal reflects Manchester United's valuation.
75 plus 10 million euros.
So you're talking 74 million pounds. You know what I mean? All in. And that is Manchester United's valuation. Now, it might be 5 million less than what Leipzig want for him, but again, it's Man United sticking to their guns on what they believe is a fair market value for a player of that age and that caliber, I suppose.
No, I get it, but then that brings us into the one link that I sent you when you go one-on-one with Ekitike, because you look at it and he went for 69 million pounds plus 10 in add-ons. And you look at it in goals, he's behind. Assists, he's behind. Shots on goal, he's behind. Dribbles in total, he's behind. When you compare, he's, Ekitike had a better season than Sesko did by the stats. And if you go down farther, less assists, less shots. That's the one thing that you can say that Sesko is better. His goal conversion rate is better because he had less shots. Other than that, it's we're not far off.
Right. Well, let's talk about the price tag then, and whatever about what Ineos or Manchester United have done. Actually, do you know what? Let me get through some of the comments here first because there's a lot of them. Degsy says, I think we were paying too much, but we finished 15th, and I think he will join us over anyone else. Clarion says the Lap was our first choice. That's true. He was our first choice. Absolutely. Aaron says, do you know there's an echo from the two boys? Oh, I did not know that, but there's nothing we can do about it now. I don't think the echo cancellation is on. D says 4 million in revenue over the course of the financial year is still quite a hole to fill. Noel is in. He says the only negative I have in these players aren't in sooner, but if we end up strengthening by adding Cunha and Buemo, Sesko, and maybe Lamens and Hackney, I'd be given a standing ovation. Response to that, Oshin?
Yeah,
it kind of goes back to what we've said before, doesn't it? Regardless of when you get him in the transfer window, you get him on a 5-year deal, you're going to be here for 5 years.
Yeah. That's strengthening every position on the pitch. We need strengthening. So if we can do all that work, that's not a bad window. But as we get on to later, I still maintain it hasn't been a good window so far for Ineos, but we don't have that to do.
Yeah, okay. Clarion says, I'd say Ineos wanted the Lap because he was only 30 million Prem proven, would have had more left over for another signing. Yeah, I think that was it. And the fact that he was the only striker that was going to move early as well, realistically, I think that's why Ineos were targeting him. Also, Degsy says, I think United only bids if they know they can get him, and I think there will be a second bid. Well, there'll be negotiations there. Absolutely, there will be. D says, we do not, and I repeat, do not have oil money and Saudi company sponsorship fueling our transfers budget, and if they want a guaranteed figure of 69.5, then that needs to be paid this window. I would be shocked if we have to pay all of that up front.
No, we won't. It would be impossible. No one pays. Nobody. I don't think there's any transfer that's gone through that everybody's paying that in full. That's not how transfers work at this point.
Okay, little I don't know if this is relevant at all because I just after seeing it coming up on the screen here, David Ornstein. It's nothing to do with Manchester United, but RB Leipzig speaking to Liverpool about a possible move for Harvey. Oh no, that doesn't Sorry, no, I'm thinking 3 layers down now. Liverpool, Newcastle, Leipzig. No, let me get rid of that. That has nothing got to do with anything. What else have we got here? Let's see. Also, to touch back on Newcastle outbidding us, Newcastle United do not generate what they're currently spending, and they'd absolutely have to sell Isak. Yeah, they would. I mean, they would sell Isak in a heartbeat. You know, like they would literally have a queue of clubs, you know, at their front door. If Harry says fab tweet Fabrizio, right, we'll check on that. But overall then, guys, Oisín, I'll ask you first. You know, we can talk about Ineos and what oh yeah, here we go. Sorry, let me just, I'm a bit all over the shop, but understand Manchester United feeling from earlier today is even stronger tonight. The club believes Sesko only wants to join Manchester United. Man United forwarded official contract proposal to Sesko while also keep negotiating with RB Leipzig. So there we go. We're negotiating. And that's good news. But ultimately the price then, Oisín, you know, we can break down how much we, you know, Ineos have paid and what we should have bid and so on and so forth. Talk to me about 85 million euro. Well, up to 85 million euro for another 22-year-old who's unproven in the Premier League.
I don't think we had an option. I think our choices were dwindling down. We were looking at the lap he went. We were looking at Gyökeres, he went, Osimhen. I don't know how true those Osimhen links were considering his wage, but he was in the pot. So it's Sesko, who's 22, who seems to fit the Ineos mold, what they want, or it's Watkins, who's 30 next birthday. Hasn't had the best injury record the last 2 years. Okay, his goals have been double figures both seasons, but he's also missed a lot. He's had bad calves the last 2 years. And I was looking at the metric of it, how he stacks up versus Højlund last year. And Højlund had a terrible year. Højlund had a really, really, really bad year last year.
Yeah.
Sesko didn't have a great year either. So I'm a bit concerned about spending 85 million. Long answer to a short question is I'm a bit worried about spending 85 million on a 22-year-old project player. Chris keeps referring to them as these learner drivers. We will now have 4 under 25 strikers at the club with Xerxes, Højlund, and Odie. We don't have any experience up there, and that's concerning.
Yeah.
And I think if Sesko does come in, Højlund goes out, but I still don't see us signing an experienced 25 plus in terms of age striker. And I think that's what we need to take some of the pressure off Sesko. If he doesn't hit the ground running, he's going to be Højlund Mark 2. It's going to be on his shoulders. He seems like the kind of kid who could carry it.
Yeah.
But I still think that if he has a season like Højlund has, then we need to take him out of the firing line, and we've got no one to go in there to replace him to take the pressure off. And that would be my promise to 85 million on him, that we're not leaving ourselves any wiggle room without getting into sell to buy, which we can't seem to do, to get out of striker. That's my biggest struggling point with the price.
Yeah, Chris, obviously, you know, Oisín is mentioning there that 25-year-old plus. Realistically, there was only 2, and it was Gyökeres or Osimhen, and they seem to be out of the reckoning relatively quick. What's your overall thoughts on the 85 million? And Sesko in general, maybe, as a player?
I mean, he is a learner driver. I mean, everybody has talked about. I looked up his stats. You know, he's had 13 goals in the Bundesliga, 14, 16, and 5. You know, I mean, that's between Leipzig and Salzburg. He's played in 3 Champions League seasons, but he's totaled 6 goals in those 3 Champions. So let's just break it down: 3 goals. He had 4 last year and 2 the year before. So you know, he's not much in the assist. You know, I've watched some highlights and low lights up and everything like that. Big kid, 6'5", 6'5".
Yeah.
Aerial. I mean, but that's like we talked about before. We don't really cross the ball. So it's not like, you know, how's that going to affect things? But
can we lean on the fact? Sorry to interrupt. Can we lean on the fact that Amram likes a big centre forward? You know, like Gyökeres is not a small man either, and it seems like Sesko can get up and down the field.
What I to be honest with you, what I'm leaning towards is that I think Amarin likes Sesko, and I think he sees, and this is just me being Mr. Positivity, I'll feel it from Oshie, is that he thinks he can do what he did with Gyökeres with Sesko.
Yeah,
I think he can bring him in and move him along. The positive part about having Sesko in now compared to Højlund in 2 years ago is we have Dembuemo, we have Cunha, we have Ahmad, we have Bruno now. You have those players that can create and that are powerful dribblers and to take people on that can do different things that to be honest with you, Højlund didn't have that in the squad. So I lean on that side. I think that we have more experience in the squad for Sesko to be more successful. I think he can be a very good striker. I think he can. I've watched videos. For as big as he is, he's very nimble and he's very quick. Like he's not.
I don't know, Chris. I was watching some highlights, and he didn't leave any defenders on the ground in his dust. I mean, he's quick, but I don't know if he's rapid.
No, I don't. I agree he's not rapid, but he's not Weghorst where he's looks like a draft, in mud, just legs all over. Where I think he's very fluid for how big he is, and you can get around players, you can dribble past players, and but he's not going to leave anybody in the dust, like and everything like that. But I think he knows how to move around players. And I think in some of the highlights by players, I think they underestimate it.
We're getting feedback, supposedly. We're getting feedback on you, Chris. It's gone kind of echoey. I don't know if something has changed, but couple of comments here. D says 21 goals and 6 assists in 40-odd games. Degsy says Sesko's shot conversion is amazing. Kiefer says huge pressure on Sesko. It's worrying. We need a proven Prem striker, but hopefully this lad can hit the ground running. Let's get Sesko. I think the main issue here is, and I think I said quite jokingly before we went live, was that Ruud van Nistelrooy never scored a goal in the Premier League until he came to the Premier League. But I suppose, Oisín, you have to realise the atmosphere that someone like Ruud van Nistelrooy was going into, and the cauldron and the expectation that was there. Do you think Ruben Amorim has done enough over pre-season to maybe lessen the I suppose not lessen the pressure, because there's always going to be pressure if you're leading the line for Manchester United, but you think maybe you've seen enough over pre-season that maybe we've turned a corner in terms of standards, at least?
Standards, yes, but I don't know about lowering the. I mean, Højlund only scored 1 goal across 3 games, which again for a striker at United isn't good enough. I think Sesko and Højlund are coming into United at a point when United are at one of their lowest ebbs in their history. Van Nistelrooy was coming to a successful club. He had players around him who were going to push him, who were going to make sure he was a success or get him as close to it. And I just feel Sesko now is coming to a point where there's pressure on him, and that's why I'm saying if he gets in the firing line, will we have someone to take out and just swap them in and out? And we don't seem to have those.
And would you also then, because we're talking about maybe Højlund going in the other direction if Sesko does come in, are you comfortable with just Sesko and maybe Cheeto as the backup? Or, we seen the lack of a focal point against Everton the other night when Cunha played through the middle.
Well, we have Xerxes as well. But I mean, again, I go back to it. Our 4 main strikers will be under 25. I don't see Højlund going the other way. I just don't. I think Amorim does like him. He likes his work rate, and I think if he can improve his finishing and just his positional sense, because he runs
his link-up play.
He runs himself to a standstill. There's no denying his effort. But by the time he gets those chances, he's bet out from running. That he just can't get into those positions where he needs to be. So I think Amron does like him, and I don't think Amron wants to get rid of him. But it is concerning our four strikers at United are over 25. I've noted it a couple of times now, but it is a genuine concern of mine. Where do we go if neither of those start firing?
Yeah, that's the big concern, isn't it? Right, Chris, I'll ask you first on it before we finish up on Sesko. Do you think it will work?
I think so.
No, you sound way better now.
I think it'll work. I mean, I think Højlund stays, to be honest with you. I think that Højlund stays and he's going to become the second striker, or, it's going to be half and half. I mean, I really do. And because I don't see why we would get rid of him unless someone came in with a big offer. And we can't go in with Cheeto being our second option. I mean, Cheeto needs to be. Honestly, I think Cheeto needs to go play in the championship. Like, that's just speech. Because I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I would give him the experience. If we're going to keep Højlund, I would let Cheeto go off on loan and let him play in the championship. Look what it did for Ahmad.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what I would do. But, I mean.
So, in 2 years' time, will Sesko be a success, or will we be looking for another striker?
I think Sesko will be a success. Now, do I think success? Let's 15 to 20 goals.
Yes, I'll take that.
I'm not talking 25 to 30.
Yeah.
You mean per year, not over 2 years.
per year.
Fuck up, you. Don't make me turn. Don't make me turn the names on. All right.
I think that if we're expecting 15 to 20 goals from Sesko this year and next year in 2 years' time, I would say yes. And I still think I'm Watkins in. I'm sorry, but I still am. But at the same time, I think Sesko will be a success because I think that Amron will get. I believe in Amron. I think he will get the best out of him. I think that he can take what he does. And Sesko's link-up play is better than I thought it was. So,
well, it can't be any worse than Højlund's.
No, true. But I mean, the thing is, I think he can play a lot better. But I honestly think that because of the experience that we've put in our squad between Embuemo and Cunha, I think that's what's going to be the driving success behind Sesko. Because you look at what – oh, here we go. He's still a quality player. I don't care what
he is. He is.
But here's the thing is – but look at what – Embuemo can score goals, and that's what he does. But look what Cunha did with Strand Larsen last year. Strand Larsen ended up with 15 goals last year, and Cunha had a lot to do with that. So I think that Cunha can play with the younger striker and get the best out of him. So that's why I'm optimistic about it.
Yeah, and look, it's hard to be optimistic as Manchester United fans over the last 10 or 15 years, But eventually it has to work. So, look, if Sesko is the man and he comes in, he's going to get the support, you know what I mean? And we're all behind him and we all hope he goes. And I think, just looking at him a little bit, and he's a big chap, and, he looks, a lot of the pictures of him are, and I think this matters. A lot of the pictures of him are fucking, these kind of pictures and shouting at lads on the pitch and, whereas before we signed Højlund, he was, these kind of, with the floppy blonde hair. And I don't care. I think these things matter. You know what I mean?
I think this is where it comes into Vavel has been in the Red Bull.
Yeah, big link there.
Sesko has come through the Red Bull group between Salzburg and Leipzig, and I think that makes a big difference to where Højlund came through. Yeah. So I think that makes a big difference. And
you got to look at it as well. We first tried to sign Sesko when he was 16, 6 years ago. And I think
Can I just come in on that though, Jack?
Yeah.
If we were trying to sign him 6 years ago, why was he our third or fourth choice this time around then? Why didn't we go straight for him now?
I think so. Andy Mitten said on the Talk of the Devils pod, or maybe on his own podcast, this time last summer, Benjamin Sesko was our number one striker option. Number one out of everybody. Benjamin Sesko was number one, and we obviously didn't get him. He decided to stay. I think the emergence of Gyökeres this summer or this season, this year, and the Amorim links slightly changed that. And when Osman does become available, I think you've got to look at that as well. I don't think realistically they were ever either our first choice options. I think maybe Gyökeres, if we had got into the Champions League, I think that maybe changed it.
Delap, I think we're just in for the sheer price of it.
Yeah, I have a feeling if we had got Delap for 35 million at the start of the summer, I honestly believe we probably would still be in for somebody like Sesko now. I genuinely think we would have, and I think we probably would have moved Highland on.
I don't know. I mean, we're finding it hard to move him on now, so I don't think we moved him on.
I think
easier with Delap there.
I think it would be. Also, you forget that Amorim did want Delap in Sporting, so there is a tie there. So
yeah, true.
And we said this before the transfer window even started off. A 30 million release clause for Delap is good business, regardless, and everything like that. Now, did we want him as our number one striker? No, we didn't. But at the same time, that's still good business at 30 million. But he chose to go elsewhere. I think the Gyökeres thing because of Amorim links. Yes, I think he was our second choice amongst all the other strikers. I really don't think we were ever in for Ekitike or anybody.
No, Ekitike was too expensive. That was off the table within days.
And I think Osman. I think we dabbled in it because you have to, and you have to find out. But I think Sesko was probably the one that they really wanted. Besides Gyökeres, they just didn't come out and say it.
Yeah,
they weren't doing that, and maybe that's a plus on the Ineos side for not showing their hand.
Yeah, well, I ran a poll at the start there. Are we paying too much for Sesko? 60 votes are in. 63% say yes, and 36% say no. So it's 2-1.
What I don't agree with that because what's the price of a striker nowadays? It's this price. And we said, didn't we, as far back as February or March, that it was going to be a striker window. You know what I mean? Because there were so many moving. Anyway, look, let's hope we have some updates on it. Obviously, we showed that
Chris, is you're spending the same money on a proven striker as you are an unproven striker. That's the only thing.
Yes,
that's the reason I'm unhappy with the price.
But right, and just before we move on that one, if we buy Sesko and he comes to us, and in 3 or 4 years' time, let's say it hasn't worked out, his book of value might only be 30 or 40 million at that stage anyway for us to make money back on him.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you look at Highland now, for example. Highland, I think, is 40 million to break even on if we sell him this summer, and he'll be about 30 million next summer. So while you don't want to be a selling club and you want your players to work, you wouldn't get that same return bringing in Ollie Watkins now and trying to get rid of him at 33 or 32 or 33,
Well, and the other thing is when we talk about
Hoyland, and sorry, Chris, and that's how Ineos think. Yeah. They think numbers, you know what I mean? They go into failing businesses and they make them profitable.
And I agree with that. And the one thing that I want everybody to realize is that we bought Hoyland at 19 and now he's 21. We're buying Sesko at 22 when he's already had that 2 years experience with Leipzig where, we threw Hoyland to the wolves.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here. Like we did Hoyland a disservice. Let's be honest. I think so, and I honestly think if we keep Hoyland, I think we can see the best out of him. Now, is it going to be a 15 to 20 goal scorer being the number 2 striker? No, but I think he can score 10 to 15 goals. I think you can get a very profitable Hoyland learning what needs to happen and seeing it, and one thing like Ocean said, he fights. And if he sees what he needs to do, I think he's that type of player that will make the adjustments to get himself into the team.
Yeah.
Make himself better. So, even the goal that he scored, was it the West Ham goal, where he made that nice little run and got the flick? We haven't seen that out of him at all. Usually highs back.
Absolutely. Right, Chris, what's next on the agenda?
So the next on the agenda is what do we do next? Let's put Sesko and say we sign Sesko and he's in the door. Is it a midfielder or is it a goalkeeper?
It's for me. It is 110% a midfielder. I don't think there's any question. I go back to the goalkeeper. I'm not concerned. No, it's not that I'm not concerned, but I'm not overly concerned about the goalkeeper position this summer. I really am not. I
mean, I know what you're saying, but we are losing Onana at December time.
Yeah,
to the Cup of Nations, and by in their last what night was it? Sunday night was absolutely.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, and but I go on. Sorry,
you have to. You can't say you've got no concerns with the goalkeeping position. Yeah, I don't think you're being genuine there.
Yeah, I'm probably being a little bit flippant on it because I mentioned this morning that I think when there is the opportunity to improve, you've got to take it. But I also believe that there's got to be at the very bare minimum, somebody brought in to challenge Onana. You know, I'm probably still in the mindset now that we're a striker is getting close. I'm still in the mindset of fix the forward line, get goals. Whereas now you would hope this week or maybe next week that will be fixed with who we're going to sign. I still think it's got to be midfield. I think that number 6 position, you know, the lack of and you know what? I think Bruno is missed in that position. And I know you mightn't agree with me on this, but I was looking back at the game the other day, and the Mason Mount goal, you would never find Bruno in that position ever, scoring a goal like that in that number 10 position. And there was a couple of times where Bruno got on the ball. I think he sprayed one or two out to Dorgu when he dropped a little bit deeper. I think he was kind of getting a bit, or maybe it was when Mount came on where Bruno dropped a little bit deeper. I think that's his role. That's Bruno's role, taking that ball out. But we need somebody else. But
Bruno doesn't see that as his role, though.
I know.
He's not disciplined enough to stay there. That's my issue with Bruno. He'll keep moving around. And look, for whatever reason, he thinks he's trying to influence the game more, but he actually goes missing more. He's out of where he needs to be. I was watching the game, obviously, on Sunday night, and Ugarte can't play facing his own goal for some reason.
Yeah.
He was at fault for the second goal, and his first touch whenever he faces his own goal is shocking. His second touch is nearly always a tackle. So we need someone who's able to take the ball from them on the half turn to feed the ball to Bruno. I don't think Bruno's a 6. I think he's more. I know what Chris is going to say, and I know exactly who he's thinking. But I mean, I'm seeing us think with a Belieber for 100 million.
No.
We've got a 50% sell-on clause with Greenwood if he goes to Al Nassr for 150, and apparently people want us to fund the Belieber move with that. I haven't seen enough of Belieber to know, but what I've seen of him, he reminds me of a Manu, which we've discussed whether Manu actually fits into this system or not. But I think we need a ball-playing, ball-winning number 6.
Well, let me ask you a question before we move on to other options, Oisín, because I know Chris is desperate to jump in. Do you think Ruben Amorim is good enough of a coach to coach Bruno Fernandes into this specific number 6 role?
He's had 9 months so far, and it hasn't worked. But I don't think if Bruno wants to play in the team, he's not playing in the number 10s with the new number 10s we just bought. That's just so he's going to have to learn that game, or else find himself, as Chris says, on the pine, which would be as much as I don't think he's as good as others on this podcast think he is. I still think he is our talisman, and he still is our captain, and I think he is our leader on the pitch. He may not be the vocal leader we're all used to, the Keane or the Vidic, but he is the leader on the pitch. And I think we need him there because he does have that something different that we rely on in games, that we did rely on a lot last year, that we're going to rely on more again this year, I think, trying to bet everybody in. But he needs someone beside him. Ugarte hasn't proven he's the guy yet. I want him to make it. I like his style. He has that South American kick him as soon as look at him kind of style that I like. Casemiro, even though he's looking shredded and ripped, that doesn't
the pace. It's the pace.
That doesn't give you back your legs. You know, it doesn't. So he's gone. He's going to be our League Cup player, FA Cup kind of player. going forward to save the guys. I know we only have one game a week, but I think progression in the Premier League is where we have to be. It has to be. So I think Casemiro's going to find playing time tough. So we need someone to go in there.
What's your thoughts on Manu, Oisín? He's having a bit of a, he's flatlining a bit.
I asked the question Sunday night, did we get carried away with him at the time? And I think everybody did. I mean, he ended up being in the Euro 2024 team and played a couple of games there. And you can even see there, those games are passing him by when I think back to those games. But Sunday night, he just was not involved in that game at all. He was looking around more than he was, he just didn't know where the ball was. It was ahead of him, it was behind him. He didn't seem to know himself what his role was in the middle there. And again, like Bruno, I don't think he has discipline to sit there. I think he wants to be a number 10 and be up and down.
I think he's going to be back up. I think he's going to be back up to either Mbeumo or Cunha.
I think, and this is a controversial decision, he hasn't agreed a new deal yet. So, I mean, if it gets later and later into the window and he is someone who is pure profit, we could see him go out the door. Bold statement, I know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't like him to, but and I go back to the Europa League, the time Amram gave him on that pitch at that time, told me I do not trust this guy.
I could do so much editing on what you've said there now and just make you out to look like you hate Manu on TikTok in the morning.
Well, look, I can take the heat. Come on, bring it on.
Yeah. Right, Chris, jump in then. So, talk about the number sixes. We know who you're going to talk about, but give us your overall opinion on the position first.
I think we need a number 6. I think Ugarte can't do it on his own. I think Bruno can do a job there. I don't think he can do it on a week in and week out basis. I think against top teams, you need someone stronger. And, like Oisín said, you need a ball-winning progressive passing number 6. I mean,
long blonde hair.
Yes, everybody knows who I want. Martin Holman, the Danish Michael Carrick, as I call him. I mean, honestly, I think he would fix a lot of our problems. But I think I want to touch on a couple of different things that Oisín was talking about and everything like that. Like Manu, I do agree. I could see him leaving. I could see him pure profit and being sold. Because here's the thing, I think we get attached to him. And the one thing I'll say, and this is not going to be popular, Jack can clip me up and make it sound probably worse than what Oisín was, is that if you go back and look at what Manu did and all the positive things he did, they were all positive things for himself, meaning he made space for himself and he scored a goal. He did things for himself and he made, he didn't make players better. He made very good plays for himself in scoring goals. He wasn't playing passes through to other players. He wasn't that progressive midfielder. So you have to take that in consideration when you look at him. So
I think you should both be ashamed of yourself talking about Manu like that.
Let's be honest. He doesn't have Jack. How many players at his age get faster?
Well, nobody gets faster with age.
Exactly. He doesn't have pace. So that's another issue. He may be slower than Casemiro now. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's tough, but I'm just saying. But with that being said, I think the one thing with Ugarte in this last game, and I watched a lot
sorry, before you move on to Ugarte, surely it's over a 10-yard dash. The majority of football is played over a 10-yard dash, unless obviously there's a big switch ball, and he's not going to find himself running from one edge of the box to another, trying to on a 1v1 or whatever the case may be. So,
but he's average. If he's smart, over 10 yards. He's average. Yeah, I know. He's not fast. Yeah. I mean, he's not like Oisín said. He's not rapid in 10 yards. He's not. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think he is. And if someone wants to prove me wrong and show me clips of it, then so be it. But going back to Ugarte in that game, I think a lot of what Bruno said after the game lended a little bit. I'm not going to absolve Ugarte for giving up the ball, his first touch and everything like that. But also I think that what Bruno said after the game is that the team was lazy off the ball. So if you look at the second half when Ugarte lost the ball a couple of times, nobody was moving for him to give him a pass to, when he gets the ball and he moves, everybody's standing there watching him like, oh, where are you going to go with this? And I think that lends to where like Bruno said after the game, we were lazy off the ball where we always have to be constantly moving for our guys to give them options. Because if you're standing still, what do you want them to do with it at that point? Now, again, not absolving Ugarte, he had a nightmare of a game. Let's be honest, and everything like that. But I still think that there's other reasons for that. I think that I really wanted in that game to see Ugarte play next to Bruno, Embuemo, Cunha, and Hoyland up top. That's what I want to see. Because
say that again. Say that again.
I wanted to see Ugarte and Bruno in the sixes.
Yeah.
With Cunha, Embuemo, and Hoyland up top.
Yeah. That's what you wanted to see the other night. Yeah. But look, isn't
playing the right wing back?
Isn't preseason just to get minutes into legs, really, though, isn't it?
But you want to get minutes into legs, but you want to see how guys can play together. You want to see that, and maybe, and like Amran said, he was trying new things. But the one thing I think you guys are missing out on the fact that I think that, and this is probably going to be an unpopular thing, is that I think you could see Mainu playing next to Ugarte a little bit more, Bruno playing in a 10, and Embuemo playing in a right wing back, and you see Ahmad coming in as an impact sub. Because I can see that, because if you look at Embuemo, he does fly up and down the wings. He did talk about he'd play anywhere on the wing position. I think you guys may lose sight of that a little bit, where with the guys that we brought in, there's a lot of flexibility.
Yeah. Well, what happens to that flexibility once this guy comes in?
Bye, Manu.
Well, let me put it this way to you then. If it is Embuemo and Cunha in the 10s, and this guy is coming in as a 6, is it him beside Bruno or is it him beside Ugarte?
I think you will see more of him beside Ugarte, Bruno in the 10, and Embuemo at the wingback. And I think Ahmad gets the shaft on this one. Really?
I mean, Ahmad is up there with one of our best players when he's been fit the last.
Okay, but let me ask the question: who's better, Embuemo or Ahmad?
We haven't seen Embuemo play right wing back. We've seen play number 10, but
right wing back, basically playing right wing. It's
how many goals did Ahmad score last season, and he missed half of the season? He was in double figures.
11. Embuemo scored 20.
It's not far off. It's not far. They're not far off each other.
But I'm not.
Embuemo wasn't defending for most of the season. I mean, Ahmad, with the way we played last year, was on his back foot most of the season. Embuemo wasn't.
I get it, but I'm just saying. I think you guys have to lend yourself to a little bit of. You want more of the experience out on the field than you want. I mean, I'm not saying that Ahmad's not going to play. He's not going to get relegated to the bench, and we're never going to see him again. But I think you're gonna look at that, and the other part of this is you got to remember, Ocean, you brought it up. AFCON comes in January. Ahmad goes, Embuemo goes, Onana goes.
Does Mazraoui go?
I think so. Morocco? Yes, Mazraoui goes too.
Yeah, Morocco, is it?
Yeah. Morocco or Egypt? Is it Egypt or Morocco? Morocco.
I tell you, lads, that's why Ferguson rarely signed African players. It's crazy to say, you know what I mean? He was putting the team first. He goes, well, if you're going to be gone for half the season, I'm not signing you.
No, I get it. But I think that if Holman comes in, I mean, I think Holman's a good enough player too that you could put Holman next to Bruno and he can do a job. Because the one thing about Holman is if you watch him, his progression and his progressive passes it's in, I think it was 88th percentile. Like, he's moving the ball. And here's the other thing, guys. He knows the system. He knows where it's supposed to go. And he knows, and positionally, he's going to be there, and everything like that. And I just think
Can I give out a mad theory here that I've been thinking about the last couple of days? Anybody we've been linked to with Sporting, we haven't really gone after. Do you think that's because Ineos has been once bitten, twice shy by giving Ten Hag all his ex-players? They're not going to go back down that road again. It's just a theory.
Ineos didn't really do that, though. Ineos didn't sign Anthony. They
signed Mazraoui. They signed De Ligt.
But
I'm just saying,
Malacia?
is it a case that I'm just saying, were they looking at what happened by bringing in a coach who was too familiar with the players, that they're not going to give Amram that kind of backing? I don't look. It's just something that's been coming to me because any
Yeah.
player from the third degree we've been linked with, we haven't gone too far with it.
No, I get it, but I mean, to be honest with you, the ones that we've been linked to is Quenda, and we lost out, and we
Chelsea,
supposed
yeah.
we wanted to sign. Chelsea got him and wanted to sign him. Yorkerez we wanted, but he went to Arsenal. I mean, I don't know if
Is
some
there
reason-
anyone else in for Holmond?
Juve, but they say they don't have the money for him. So, I mean, that's the issue at that point. You know, it's just, you know, it's I don't know if they prioritize midfield though. That's the problem, because what I've always heard is that if we sign a midfielder, one's got to go, and that would be Toby Collier's going to go out on loan.
Yeah.
You know, because
Well,
one's got to go, one's got to be removed from the bench at that point.
Well,
So-
let me ask you then, Chris, before we finish up.
Mhm.
Sesko comes, hypothetically, let's say he
Yep.
comes, we get Holmond and we get Lamens. Good window?
Very good window.
Yeah.
I mean, with Embuemo, Cunha, Sesko, Holman, Lamens. I mean, I think
And
Lamens
Diego Leon, sorry. Diego
and
Leon.
Diego Leon. You know, I think at that point, you know, in Dorgu in last January
And Heaven.
in heaven. I mean, honestly, I think that I would rate Ineos very well. I mean, I would change my tune, to be honest with you, because I think if Lamens comes in, for sure, February 1, Lamens is the starting keeper. You know, Onana's done.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
After the AFCON. AFCON is the end of this year, though, I think, isn't it? It's earlier
it's
this
December
year.
because of the World Cup.
Is it
Yeah.
December?
It's
Okay.
the end of 25 this year, yeah.
Okay, so I stand correctly. I think by the end of AFCON, I think Lamens doesn't look back, and I think Lamens is a very good keeper.
Yeah.
You know, I've watched some stuff on him, and you know, I mean, it's hard, but I mean, he's a very good keeper. He's very fundamental.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Oisin, if we got in what I mentioned there, Sesko, Holmond, and Lamens, would you be more encouraged by what Ineos have done?
You can't, for me, you can't excuse that 6-week gap there where we did nothing. We didn't do anything. That, I mean, Chris earlier alluded to it. We could have been talking to Sesko during that 6 weeks. We could have had other deals going on. So you can't excuse that 6-week gap while we were trying to buy one player.
Is there any excuse for it, Oisin? Is there a case where if we had gone for Sesko, there wouldn't have been money for Embuemo? Or
no, because we were promised by Barada we're getting our business done early this year. We're going to give Amram his tools going on the tour. We are going to come into August the 15th. It is the 15th, isn't it, versus Arsenal? We're going to come into that day.
17th.
And we are going to be 17th. We're going to come in and we're going to be a fine-tuned team. They're going to have the whole preseason to work together, and there's going to be no problem there. So we were promised that by Barada. It didn't happen. But if we were to get the 6 players you mentioned there, it would be a satisfactory window.
Yeah.
I would be happy with that, but the 6 weeks in the middle, there's no excuse for not getting something done there. We had players we needed to move off. They could have worked on those. We've only got rid of one of the problem children we've had last year. And he's not even gone. He's only on loan.
Yeah.
So
but let me ask you this.
Let me ask you this question, Jack.
Let me fucking ask you this question.
I want to be asked my question, Jack, please.
Because what has transpired that you, in your mind, that they couldn't sign these players? Because at what point did you ever think we had 80 million to sign Sesko? At what point, you know, where does that fit in? We signed Embuemo, we signed Cunha, and then all of a sudden, magically, we have 80 million to sign.
Well, this is right. So this is why in the title, did Ineos fool everyone? All right. And this is me just throwing out I'm not saying I believe this or anything, but Jim Radcliffe done an interview a few weeks before the window opened where he said Manchester United have no money, and they're bankrupt, and we're going to run out of money by the end of the year if we hadn't, done such and such.
But then we sacked all the tea ladies. That's where we got the 80 million from.
Yes, right. I understand that, right? Are we playing checkers and Jim Ratcliffe is playing chess, right? And I'm asking you this question because let's put it out there to the world that Manchester United have no money. All right. You go knocking on the door of a club looking for a player. Is it again? I'm just thinking of these things completely hypothetically. Is it a tactic of getting rid of the United tax and overcharging Manchester United? Well, United have no money. We can't take the fucking piss out. They'll just walk away. Do you know where I'm coming from a little bit, or am I just completely, losing the plot?
I get where you're coming from, but I don't think any club is going to say Manchester United don't have money or Manchester United can't get money. I don't think no club is going to look at you and go, they're broke.
Yes, but my reasoning behind it was
we can't on one hand say I have no money, but I want a £2 billion stadium. They don't go together.
But my reasoning for it was that we were told we had the price of 2 players before we needed to sell, and then all of a sudden 80 million arrived for Benjamin Sesko. So was that United's way of trying to manipulate the market a little bit?
But what did they really manipulate the market to do?
Yeah, but what did we achieve? We overpaid for Mbeumo, so we didn't manipulate the market in our favor there.
But and then we're not.
Yes, but
I would say
what would we have paid for Mbeumo 2-3 years ago?
Well, if we'd bought him 6 weeks before we did, 62.5 million, which is what they wanted.
Yes. But my point is, United are not getting taken to the cleaners anymore by the looks of things.
No, because in fairness, they have got football men in football positions.
Yeah.
I was listening today, Sancho. I was listening to we can't give Sancho away. Sancho is down to 10, 15 million and nobody wants him. That's and I'm thinking back to when we did sign him. Solskjaer didn't even look like he wanted him. He was a Woodward boy, a businessman playing Championship manager was what that era in United was. So I think having out with the whole Bale Buck story, I think Radcliffe genuinely thought we were out of money until he made the cost-saving measures he did. Do I agree with them? No. Have they saved United? Yes. Am I happy? Conflicted.
Well, yeah, in my opinion, it's never nice to see anybody losing their job. But if the goal was to get Manchester United profitable again, and that was one of the reasons why it happened, then it's got to be a successful decision.
But Jack, couldn't you say they would have pulled the wool over everybody's eyes if they said we had no money, they went about their business like they did and everything, and all of a sudden the next thing you know, we signed these 5 players and had them ready for the first game and sat there and said, hey, we didn't have any money. And I'm not saying we would have overpaid for players, but we all of a sudden now we signed 5. You signed your Cunha, Mbeumo, Sesko, Holman, and Lamens, and look at that. Boom. Now we're ready. Because the one topic we didn't get to is because of how late we sign players, it puts us in a hole at the beginning of the season.
Are we being unrealistic about how quickly you can sign a player, though? Or how quickly you can sign 6 players?
Chelsea have done it.
But Chelsea vastly overspend. The reason why Chelsea can do that is because they are excellent at selling players.
But you can't tell me.
You asked me a question, are we unrealistic how quickly you can buy players? And I said Chelsea can do it. I was answering your question. Well, we're not being realistic. We're seeing other clubs do it.
Yes, but do you want to play? Do you want to pay the same amount of money that Chelsea are paying? No.
Of course not.
But even if you say this, Jack, even with the Sesko thing, you can have in the background the Holman thing saying maybe we put in a second bid for Holman. Maybe that doesn't come out how much it is, but maybe you're putting in a second bid for Holman to try to see if we can get the price down again. Because we bid 40, they want 50. Maybe you put in 45 plus 5 or something like that. It's almost like it's one at a time, and that's never going to work in the window. I don't care who you are. If you go one at a time, it's never going to work.
So based on this conversation, what we need against Arsenal is a goalkeeper, because we're going into that game of Bayindir as our first choice keeper. Yeah. So just on this conversation, we need to sign a keeper next. We were all going for a midfielder. But does anyone here feel confident starting that game at Baynder and goal?
Name me a team that signed 2 players in the one go.
Say it again.
You know what I mean? If you're saying it's one...
We used to do it all the time.
Yes, we done it last season
Ronaldo.
with De Ligt and Mazraoui.
They were at the same club.
But we did it with Cleverson and Ronaldo going back.
I'm sick of being outnumbered on this fucking channel. I need to get new people on this podcast. So I do. Anybody that's in the comments that wants to come involved, just back me up. Just please let me know. I'll send you the link. I just don't see it as being so negative. We're after signing 2 very good players. We're getting another one in with Sesko. We could get Holman potentially, and a new goalkeeper in.
I'm not trying to be negative.
No, nor am I. We're just trying to say this club can do better because they have done better in the past. Why can't they do it now?
I think we're learning on the job, and I think we're improving dramatically.
But we need to get better quicker.
And to go back to what Oshin was talking about, I think the reason why we overpaid for Emblemo, though, I think honestly, from what I've read, is because if we paid
how are we talking about this again? We know why we overpaid for Emblemo. We argued about it for fucking 6 days.
Yeah, but we overpaid for him because then we could break up the payments easier and for a longer period of time. Yeah. You know, and that has to be put in context when we talk about the fees and everything like that.
They pay shit, lads. No. Don't bother.
Yeah. Wait now. Before we go, hold on now a sec, because there is.
Is there something?
I just seen something pop up, but I don't know who the source on it is yet. Let me just have a look. It is from Pletigol, who is pretty.
Let it be good. Please just let it be good.
Reliable.
FB Leipzig, RB Leipzig and Manchester United have reached an agreement. It is very likely that Sesko will join Manchester United. So there we go.
I'm happy with that.
Right. Ineos to the rescue.
Here we go.
Could have done it 6 weeks ago.
They couldn't have. All right, they couldn't have. Look, I'm not an Ineos fanboy, all right? But I just think we need to remember where we used to be under Woodward and Murta and all of that. And I think it is drastically improving.
Jack,
and look, it's not perfect, but I think we're going in the right direction.
I think we're not
being negative. We just want the best for United. That's all we want.
Of course.
I think if we get, I will be very impressed if we get Sesko signed in his medical before the weekend. Supremely impressed. Yeah. I will change my tune a lot if that happens. Because
that would Arsenal,
maybe be on the bench.
Maybe 30 minutes at that point.
He'd be on the bench. He would 100% be on the bench.
I think.
Yeah.
I think to be honest with you, he has been in the Leipzig preseason. So it's not like he's been sitting at home. Because I've gone back and looked at the minutes that they played. He has played in games for Leipzig. So
boys, 1-1, 10 minutes to go on Old Trafford. Sesko off the bench. Fucking, I tell you what.
Oh, I would.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You heard it here first.
And then Baynder drops the ball into his own net.
All right. I mean, like, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Like, what are we talking about here? Look at your name, for God's sake. Look at your name. Mr. P to positive.
I think we start heating.
I think we do start heating as well.
I would back that 100%. I think Heaton's a better keeper than Baynder.
I watched Heaton play in the preseason game. I'm like, where's this guy been?
Boys,
I'd re-sign John O'Shea to play on goal.
I've been saying it to you for the past 12 months that Tom Heaton is one of the greatest goalkeepers in the world, and you were all laughing at me.
Do you remember that? I don't remember that.
Thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. No, look, boys, all serious, great podcast. Really enjoyed it. Yes. I think it's the longest one we've ever done, an hour and 10 minutes now.
We can't get Tumbledino on here.
Who?
Tumbledino.
We're gonna try and I'm gonna try and get him back on the weekly show. Like
can you get him on with us? That'll be fun. We'll be nice to him, we promise.
No, I'm absolutely not getting him on with you because it would turn into a because the fucking the way he ganged up on me would be minuscule to what you would do to him, and then I would just have to end it early, and we'd all have to go home.
Oh, come on, Jack. We promised we wouldn't do that.
Than't for watching, everyone.
Can't say nice.
Listen, all right, it's not happening. All right, it's not happening. It's not fucking happening. All right, boys, I appreciate you coming on.
I hope when I go to Chelsea, I find him.
Well, he lives in Ireland, so you probably won't.
I thought he does. I thought he lived in the UK.
No, he's Irish.
Oh,
Some Limerick.
He's Irish. I wouldn't claim that.
He's from Limerick.
No, but he goes to a lot of games.
Nothing to be proud of there either, to be honest with you.
They had hurling there for a few years, but that's gone by the wayside.
Does he go to a lot of games though? I thought he did.
He goes to a few every season, yeah, maybe 2 or 3, I'd say, from what I've seen. Anyway, thanks for coming on, boys. I appreciate it as always.
The one topic I did is real
Have
quick.
you got nothing else to do?
No. How about do you like the gang of 6 that's in charge of the squad? The 6 players that are in charge of
leadership.
Yeah,
6.
I mean, there could have been like Delict is not in it, which is
don't
surprising.
know why Dalot's in it. Dalot's a funny choice for me. I mean, he's not going to be a starter every week.
I would say the reason for that is they're not going off of ability; they're going off of professionalism. And supposedly Delot is up there with one of the most.
Well, yeah, they were not going off ability if Delot's in there. Definitely not.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. Right. It's over, right? We're ending it there before anyone else gets hurt. Lads, thanks for coming on as always. And I'll speak to you next week. All right?
You got it.
Take it easy. Appreciate it. Thanks everybody for watching as well, guys. Please do smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. Really do appreciate it. I will be back not tomorrow night. It'll be Friday before we're doing a live again, Friday night. So make sure you're tuning in for that. But I will have some pre-records. And of course, if we have any updates on Benjamin Sesko, we will do a quick live. But in terms of the 9 o'clock shows at night, they'll be back on Friday. Make sure you're following us on Instagram and Twitter. All the links are in the description and on TikTok as well. Any breaking news will be updating you there as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Smash the like in the video. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy. Good luck.